I have coming in next? Oh, okay, great. You can go ahead and send them in. Thank you. Hi, how are you? My name's Megan. It's so nice to meet you. Why don't you go ahead and have a seat right there? We've got a couple super cozy chairs and then the really, really nice plush couch there if you want to lie down. Yeah, I know, right? Look at all the books that we have in here. There's so many books. I do find it to be super relaxing with just all the nature and the greenery and such. Yeah. So, why are you here today? What can I help you with? What's going on? Okay. Yeah. No, I totally understand. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely help you with that. Why don't I just get a couple of notes and information from you? I mean, I will say that I think it's very common to find your mind very busy after having a very, very busy day, especially at work, and then you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, and it's kind of just this vicious cycle that just repeats itself, right? Yeah. Well, I can definitely help, with that. I've already got some potential ideas and solutions in my mind. But let's see. I mean, why don't you tell me just a little bit more about what that is like? Yeah. No, I think it's like I said, it's definitely very common. So do you notice that is your mind just very busy during the day? Is it very busy when you're trying to sleep at night? Is it right before you go to sleep? Is it waking you up in the middle of the night? Okay, yes, for sure. Yes, so, I mean, it sounds like, maybe you're allowing your mind to kind of run and worry at night because it doesn't really have the free rein to do that during the day when your mind is occupied and busy with, work and family and home tasks and such. And so then you find yourself unable to fall back asleep when your mind is just racing and racing and racing, right? So one of the first things that I would ask is, before you go to bed at night, like, what are the 2 to 3 hours like before you go to bed? So, like, when do you stop working? Okay, and then about what time do you eat dinner? And then about what time are you going to sleep or winding down versus going to sleep? Oh, okay. So you don't really give yourself much time to wind down. Then it sounds like you're just kind of stopping your day and then getting right into bed. And then when you're in bed, that's when you're kind of catching up on social media and text messages and watching shows and reading. Okay. So one of the things that I would probably suggest is, rather than stopping your day full stop and then getting right into bed, I would try to stop your day and then have just this kind of transitional period where you are winding down, and I guess just prepping your mind for sleep, because when you stop your day and then you just get right into bed, you're kind of telling your mind that the day is still going, which is one of the reasons why you're probably waking up in the middle of the night and your brain is just full of thoughts, because your brain thinks that it's still going from the day before. Yeah. Okay. Well, so what you can do is, where would you normally relax in your house besides your bedroom? Okay, so then what you could do is, just spend some time in your living room area on the couch, and do what you would do in bed. Now, I would strongly suggest probably trying to stay off social media for the hour to 30 minutes before you want to actually get into bed and start falling asleep. So if possible, do you have the ability to maybe move, catching up on your text messages and social media? Do you have the ability to move that and maybe schedule it at a different time of your day, whether it's lunchtime, whether it's while you're eating your dinner, right after you eat your dinner? Okay. Yeah, I would definitely suggest that, just because, looking at the screen, sometimes just any of that light right before you go to sleep is a signal for your brain that you should be awake and not asleep. Now, it's different for everyone, but I will say that there are even people who have just tiny little lights in their room, from various electronics, or even like a smoke detector or an alarm on the ceiling, and even just that tiny amount of light for them can inhibit their ability to sleep soundly. So a trick for them is they might even put a little piece of tape over the light. Now for you, it's as simple as just, avoiding the phone screen time right before you go to sleep, and you can still check your phone and text messages and social media, but I would just encourage you to do it earlier in the day, or when you wake up in the morning and you're starting the next day. Yeah, so I would just try to set kind of a screen time boundary for yourself. Yeah, and I think that you'll find that that will be very, very helpful. So then, kind of going back to, I just want to see what other things you have for your sleep hygiene. So, are you a morning showerer? Are you an evening showerer? Okay. Now, what does your bedtime routine look like right before you're getting ready for bed? Okay. Yeah. Obviously, exercise is good, right? But sometimes when you do it right before you go to bed, it makes your body really warm when you're kind of trying to cool down your body for sleep, and it almost amps it up a little bit, right? Because your heart is going, and it takes a while for it to come down from that. Now, I certainly wouldn't want to discourage exercise, because I think overall the benefits of the exercise outweigh, not doing it. Of course, exercise does make you tired. It certainly helps with stress relief, so there's many benefits to it, but I just wonder if there's maybe a way to move it to a different part of the day than right before you get ready to go to bed. Yeah, because I think it's kind of amping you up right before you fall asleep. So I don't know if you have the ability to move it maybe into the morning, or maybe just doing it right after work, or even, I know this can be hard, but sometimes just doing an exercise during lunch. Maybe just try to see if you can do it in the morning before work, right? What if you wake up a little bit earlier and then you just go to bed a little bit earlier or something like that? actually wouldn't go to bed any earlier because that wouldn't make any sense. But, or yeah, actually it would. No, I think you wake up earlier, do your run, and if you do it then you can go to bed earlier. Yeah. Okay, excellent. So, yeah, I think it's important that you have kind of a nighttime routine that winds you down for bed and basically indicates to your mind, we are getting ready for sleepy time now, right? Yes. So, and also the reason why I asked what time you eat dinner is because, I mean, ideally you would want to eat dinner 3 hours before you go to sleep. Now, I know that that's really hard for most people, because obviously most of us have full-time jobs. Then by the time you finish working, by the time you make yourself dinner, you know, it is almost time for bed, right? But that is ideal. So if you think that that is an issue, now it sounds like you're eating 2 hours before you go to bed, so I think that that's fine. But if you found yourself in a position where you're eating within an hour of going to sleep and you're still having issues waking up and thinking, you know, having your thoughts and your mind go, then I would definitely consider trying to, like, really, really hard to prioritize an earlier dinner time for yourself. Yeah, but at least as of right now, that is probably not the issue. I honestly think that if you switch up your timing of your exercise and just modify your nighttime routine a little bit so that you're not having so much screen time right before bed, I think those things are going to help a lot. Now, I would also say though that it sounded like really what the main issue is that your mind is so occupied during the day that we can change some of these habits and it will help, but it won't solve it completely. So I have a couple of additional recommendations for you. Now, one of them is the idea of having this worry corner. So basically, you're waking up in the middle of the night, your mind starts running, it starts worrying about things, and you can't stop it. So the idea of having this worry corner, or like a scheduled worry time during the day, is that you set aside time to have these thoughts. And in doing so, now when you wake up in the middle of the night, you won't have as many things to worry about because you already set aside time for that. Or if you are worrying, then you can think to yourself, oh, I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm going to go back to sleep because I have my worry time tomorrow, and that's when I can go ahead and think about this. Now the premise of this is you want to worry in a place where you don't normally spend time. You don't want to associate your relaxing bedroom or your relaxing living room with worrying. You also don't want to associate your kitchen or your dining area with it. So you really need to just go to a random corner of your house that's not associated with anything else for this worry time, and you schedule it. So you can just schedule it for 10 minutes during your lunch hour or something like that, or maybe like 10 minutes right before you go to work in the morning or something. Yeah, so that's another idea. Now, another thing you could do is you could maintain a thought journal. Now, I have a lot of patients that really enjoy doing this. I just give them one of these notebooks and just give them one of these notebooks. Notebook for journaling. Notebook for journaling. Notebook for journaling. Now, it's basically a thought journal, so this could be useful at the end of your day, whether it's right after work, or you could even do this as you're winding down for bed. Because this is not a screen, so it'd actually be a very good activity to do right before bed. Just a little bit of journaling, whether it's about your day or whether it's things that are on your mind that you're worried about. Just kind of keeping a little log. And if you wanted to, if you think that you're having, some insomnia, you could even keep a little part of this one chapter could be a sleep log. So you can kind of track what days, you slept well, what days you didn't, maybe what your bedtime routine looked like before each day, what time you went to bed, what time you woke up, when you ate your dinner, what you had for dinner, and that might also provide some insight onto different patterns that may be inhibiting your sleep and others that could be helping. For example, maybe you had a really spicy dinner one night and you didn't sleep well. Maybe that was just because of your digestion. Maybe it had nothing to do with your thoughts. And then maybe on another night you had a cup of tea before bed and a bath, a nice warm bath, and those super relaxing things turned out to be a really excellent bedtime routine to calm down your mind and body right before bed. Yeah. So, another tool that I want to add to your toolbox is that you might want to consider two things: meditation and progressive muscle relaxation. Have you ever tried either one of those? Okay. Yes, so progressive muscle relaxation, I can send you some of the ones that I really like, but these are really good because they will essentially identify where you're holding tension in your body, force you to release that tension, which thus calms down and relaxes your muscles and prepares you for sleep. So it is great to do right before you go to sleep. It's also great to do if you do find yourself awake in the middle of the night and you need something to help you fall back asleep. Does that sound like something that you'd be interested in? Okay. Well, I can send you some of those. And then other than that, I obviously can just highly recommend meditation. As you practice meditation more and you become better at it, it changes the way that your brain responds to certain situations, changes the way that your mind responds to certain situations, and one of those ways, and I'll talk about this in a moment, but one of those ways is incredibly powerful for calming down your mind and many other really, really useful skills. So there is this stimulus response, right? We are obviously stimulated so much throughout our day, when we're working, when we're on social media, when we have any kind of media or screens or television on. We are just constantly being stimulated, even just in, normal day-to-day conversations with other people. We're being stimulated, and it drives certain emotions, whether that's happiness, anger, frustration, sadness, disgust. So the stimulus response tactic that I want to talk to you about is basically recognizing when you are being stimulated by something and trying to slow down your response to it. And in doing so, you can essentially retrain your mind. Yeah, so in doing so, for example, let's say somebody really close to you, like a good family member or friend, says something that just really annoys you, right? I mean, we've all been there. Somebody says something that irks you, or maybe it's not even a close person, right? But with a close person, you're usually quicker to respond and you have less of a filter. So let's say, your roommate says something to you. They're one of your best friends though too, and it really annoys you, and you might have a response that is also negative. Well, instead of saying something mean back to them, I want you to just pause, give 7-second pause before you do anything. And then you'll find that you may not be as inclined to come back with a negative remark. This works in all kinds of ways. It also works in regards to, when you're at work and something stresses you out. So when you have a stressor, I want you to just take a 7-minute pause. A 7-second pause. Take a deep breath, reset your mind, and then come back to it, okay? So that's practicing that stimulus response so that you respond in more positive ways as opposed to negative stimuli. And then you'll find that kind of rewires your brain, which definitely will help you to calm down your thoughts when you're trying to sleep. Yeah. Okay. So, before we go for today, I just want to do a quick exercise with you, okay? So I'm just going to pluck away the negative thoughts that you have, and we are going to fluff your aura and just spread to you with some positive energy. Is that okay if I do that? Oh no, it's not going to hurt at all. I promise. It's only going to help you. Okay, so pluck. Just going to pluck away some of those negative thoughts. If you want, you can close your eyes, or you can just, look at the beautiful nature outside the window. But yes, let's just pluck that energy. Okay, great. Okay, now just going to quickly fluff your aura. Fluff your aura. Just get it nice and bright and energetic and positive. Fluff, bright and positive and energetic. Okay, and now we're gonna seal it. We're gonna seal it with some positive energy, okay? We're gonna seal it with some Fiji Sunshine Guavatini. Alright? Okay. Close your eyes. Good. Okay. Alright. Perfect. How's that? Good. Okay. Well, if you ever want to talk again, just call our office. Again, I'm Megan.